Shanti.
Shantji, if this was your last day and you were going to leave your body, what would you like to say as your last words to the world and to all the people you know?
If I could leave, first I am not capable of imagining of leaving, because in my understanding my being is bigger than wherever you are suggesting me to lose myself. Spirit is bigger than anything we can think of. So since I believe I am the spirit, there is nowhere to leave. Another thing, when this body will not be able to respond to the consciousness of the spirit, at that point I would love to share with my fellow beings, first just learn to hang loose. It is hell of a challenge, first and foremost, to learn to hang loose. Same thing, then we change the word, be yourself. And then a little further, assert yourself. Know your guts. It is like somehow in all these beautiful words, our ego system is challenged to manifest itself with its full power. And I believe that is very essential for our growth. We all have got to be ignited. And when we are ignited to the extent we are capable of being ignited, then necessarily there is a transformation. Necessarily. And we are looking for that transformation to take place. And that transformation is that you believe until that moment you were responding to something, taking care of something, being accountable for something, and all of a sudden you discover, my God, it had nothing got to do with you, you are just noticing, and it is done by some entity called whatever, ego, personality. When a person catches that, then there is a flow of grace. Automatically, unnecessarily fears, unnecessarily jealousies, unnecessarily tensions leave. So I request you to try that in your life and to realize non-doing. Be most truthful. First and foremost, learn to be truthful in your day-to-day mundane life. Don't be philosophical, since nothing is real in the world and everything is changing. Then in the changing and truthful world, how can anybody be truthful? I mean, this is a very good, clever kind of talk, but if you are subject to this kind of talk, from my point of view, you are not still ready to be spiritual. To be spiritual, you have to relate in the most innocent, sweet manner, how you want to be treated by other fellow beings and how you would show your greatness in treating other beings. So I would say, be most truthful, be most humble, be most fearless. You will never repent for being fearless. You will never repent for being fearless. And even if you fail in being as truthful as you would like to be, don't condemn yourself. Again, get up, wash your face, shake off your dust, take few deep breaths, do your yoga, do your mantra, do your chanting, whatever. Try again. Because you or me or every one of us carries that essence in us. that cannot rest without reaching that point of perfection and fulfillment, or that divine illumination. So we all are called by that divine illumination. So let us keep on helping each other to reach that divine illumination by practicing daily our yoga and our chanting and our having our sweet altar in the name of God, and then asking ourselves more and more kindly and tenderly and sweetly, how do I think? How do I desire? How do I decide? And how do I act? So when you mingle these two dimensions, then at some point it gets revealed to you, my God, this questioning process came out of some divine grace or divine phenomena, and it got fulfilled through your system, and you feel blessed, and you cannot hold yourself from blessing whoever comes in your life, because there is no one anymore in your life except the very beloved. So thank you for asking such a profound question. Let us be most playful, most truthful, most fearless, most kind, and most examining ourselves. What really gives me greater joy? God within you is automatically revealing for you what gives you deeper and more lasting joy. And may God shine through you, me and all existence, all.
Maybe.
Oh, really? Okay, so.
And what gives you greater joy or greatest joy? What gives you greatest joy? You personally.
Oh, you are still doing, or are you done?
I'm doing another one. I stopped and then I started again.
Okay. So you want to still continue on your own. My point is, I want to apologize and tell you that you fulfilled my request for 5 minutes. Now if you want to continue, it is your time, your energy. I am at your disposal.
Okay, I'm just going to do one more, just for a few minutes.
Feel free for 1 or 5 more. I am your disposal. And this is my, now somehow it got into my system, my calling. So to me, the more you make these videotapes, for the time being, I get a lot of kick and empowerment. So feel free.
Okay.
If you want to take a chair and sit down, so you are also for this kind of whatever participation and ignition and encouragement. Oh.
What gives you the most joy at this time, in this moment? Can you go into your truthfulness and examine yourself, and what gives you the most joy right now in this moment?
What gives me most joy in this moment is the sweetness, peacefulness, fearlessness of this moment and our connection with each other. That is what, in my words, is giving me the deepest joy.
And can that joy change moment to moment? What gives you the greatest joy?
The experiences of joy always change for all of us. They are never lasting. Any kind of this lasting joy, it is a very debatable subject, what a person means when that person uses that kind of term. So, but I would say any joy, I mean, these feelings of joy, how was I feeling when I was not joyful? So there has got to be a space for not being joyful, and then pain and misery, jealousy and all that, we all go through that. So perhaps I'm not getting your question still, what you are pointing at.
So now a few moments went by. What gives you the greatest joy in this moment? Has anything changed? Any subtlety of change? in any direction that you can observe and be truthful about?
It has given me a little boost in the sense that it has showed me your intensity of one-pointed pursuit. So somehow, because I noticed your one-pointed interest, it gave me greater joy. And besides that, I am much more alert to see what will come out of your heart and how would I sweetly and gracefully deal with that question or proposal.
So basically, I'm trying to understand truthfulness so that I feel we need greater explanation for the general population. What is truthfulness? So is it something where you can be present with your thoughts, your feelings, your body, to have some kind of present awareness and be able to just observe what's there and then to connect with it and even to express it to another person, whatever is there, and to be able to say whatever is there? Is that a form of truthfulness?
I would say that is also certainly a form of truthfulness. But what I generally emphasize is a different form of truthfulness. It is keeping our word. Keeping our word. That is number one. Number two, revealing our heart as our heart is feeling. If we feel safe enough, otherwise. These two things when we practice in life, revealing our heart and keeping our word, automatically some shift starts taking place in life. They are not so simple, they are simple to hear. But when we start practicing these two things, we find our life contacts, situations and relationships start somehow reacting to that kind of our approach. And that is what I believe is missing from humanity in general. That is why I don't know whom to blame. I cannot blame any more elite group that I used to blame before. That what can they do? Somehow they got sucked wherever they are sucked. Now it is like we are all in the same ship. Either we survive or we sink. So that is how I look at it, and that is why, since I see your fire for humanity, for in whatever form, humanity, now you experience the pain of humanity or the suffering or the crying of humanity in this striking kind of phenomena. Mother Earth is being rather exploded, raped, violated. And not only it is being exploded and raped and violated, somehow the outcome right away, we are not able to drink water that was drinkable, sweet. So we are losing drinkable water for what? For gas or for whatever? What is more important? Drinkable water is more important, or even gas or even nectar is more important? So in practical point of view, I would say drinking water is more important than nectar. Here, drinking water is nectar. All other nectars are just meant for different kind of discussions and different kind of dimensions. So somehow now you got into that, and now I am still connected to you, and to whatever extent I have fire for humanity. Forget about non-doing. There is a general fire for in a few of us that is just for humanity. When we click in that fire, then we are most likely to ignore our other differences, because there is something very genuinely clicking. So I think that is happening, and now I got a little distracted, so ask me again your question. Thank you.
Today we went on a citizen gas tour that I conducted at the request of a Green Party candidate for governor of New York. He came with other Green Party people, his election aide, campaign aide, and others. And they called me and asked for a tour, which I do just about every week, once or twice or 3 times a week. You accompanied me on the first tour today, since we have met. When you went and saw what you saw, if you can go into the memory of it, of this that happened a couple of hours ago, if you can go back into what you saw, the contaminated water, jugs of contaminated water, water that was pouring out of someone's well into a container, and we saw and smelled it. It smelled badly. It had gas in it. It was bubbling. It was changing colors into the yellows. And when you saw that, and you saw the rig across the road from Ray's house, the noise of the machinery, the people working, the trucks, the odors. Talk to 2 families there, Ray and Bill, who have water contamination besides others. Can you go into that space of experience, and when you check your heart, like you were speaking, to check our hearts, what do you see and that you can express from your heart? What is in your heart? As you go in there, can you give us the example of your own heart?
I admire your sensitivity and skillfulness in the question, but I am not able to relate to that question. There are certain things in our heart, either that are somehow blunted or somehow undeveloped. I don't know. I hear you. To me, when I wrote humanity is at war with humanity, to me that is how I experience the whole thing. So to whatever extent I believe I can be an instrument of preventing it, I sniff around who are those few persons and if we can do something together. So that is how I look at it. But I am very pleased with your deep questioning. So feel free, as much you can take liberty, please take liberty. Oh.
You mentioned before the truthfulness means to keep your word and to express your heart.
Right.
I am still having difficulty understanding what you mean by that. I am trying to dig into your form, your psyche, and your words and ideas and expression. Can you give us more? Can you help me to understand what does that mean and give me an example? What does that mean? Show me, lead me, express your heart. I am having difficulty understanding you.
I have in the moment no words to respond to that, except that when there is genuine interest among 2 persons or many persons, then they spend time together, and by the process of spending time together, they automatically get to know what one's intention is and what's one's belief system is, attitude is, and on the basis of that we come to our realistic some kind of conclusions. So I would say that in terms of words, if you pointed some question, I would not avoid it, but I am not coming with anything from my own memory bank that could elaborate how my emotional feeling body works and all that. Oh.
I will try to reword my request or my inquiry. When you tell us to, and humanity, to check in with their hearts and keep their word, how can you express to us more that I can understand and possibly others? Are you saying that expressing your heart means you feel a heart connection with a person at some point? You feel some kind of communion with them?
Thank you, thank you. No, I don't mean that. Now your question has reached my heart. I mean how you feel in your heart. If you are feeling sad, don't say I am not feeling sad. Don't say I am feeling okay. Don't say I am, except I am feeling sad. That sense I meant. Reveal your heart, reveal your real feelings. Don't cover up your feelings. And somehow, in the name of etiquette, culture, and God knows what else, we have been trained to cover up our feelings. So that's what I mean. Not covering up the feelings. And I admire those parents, and that is in that sense I admire you also, because I have always seen in your case that you generally let people be who they are. So, and then facing whatever comes and use your common sense. I would say in our common sense, we all have felt that what is pain. I don't have to ask always my mommy and daddy what is pain. I have got burnt, my fingers got under some table or somewhere, or I got a cut in with the knife, or I got scared. So with this human life, we are automatically exposed to this element called pain. Same way as we are exposed to pain, we are exposed to something that is called pleasure. This mama, loving, adoring, breastfeeding, always there, always. So, through these two, what you call polarities, human life starts. And then, to whatever extent we have been able to integrate ourselves and position ourselves in this cosmic dance scheme, we present our performance. Did I reply to you, or I got again carried away? And then again there is another some question perhaps you can ask again, and I may try again.
Yes, I want to dig even deeper,
okay, then
to understand and really connect with you,
okay,
to know what you are saying in a deep way that, okay, I feel I understand.
Okay, then
so I will ask and see if I can repeat, okay, back what you said. I picked up something more, okay, when you spoke this time.
Okay, sure.
So what you said, I will repeat, and you can tell me, okay, if it is correct. That you feel or believe that humanity, or many of us, do not express what is truthfully happening inside of us as far as emotions or feelings or pain or pleasure or anger or hurt.
Very good.
So are you saying that we are hiding those feelings and putting on like a face, right, or a mask showing the opposite?
Right.
So if I'm feeling right now relaxed, I can say to you, I'm feeling relaxed, I'm feeling excited to be able to dig deeper and get in touch with what you're saying so that I can understand more fully, and maybe others can understand more fully. Whatever I'm feeling, to be able to express it to myself at least, and then to someone else if I want to or feel safe enough. So I am feeling what right now I want to understand. I want to connect. I feel excitement to understand more another human being who has their own way of expressing themselves, their own words, their own concepts, which may not exactly match mine. So that there is that dissonance. So I would like to bridge the dissonance and be able to see through your eyes, feel through your body what you are feeling and seeing, and then express to you more clearly what is in mine. My body, my heart, my eyes, my sensations.
Beautiful. I totally buy that and totally accept that.
So if I ask you now again, minutes later, what are you feeling right now? Can you express to the world what are you feeling? If you can capture it and observe it from your observer self, what is going on in your body, your heart, your emotions right now, if you can capture it and tell us if you feel safe enough to say it or truthful to just reveal to us, or not only to yourself.
First and foremost, I feel very safe. I feel quite truthful. I feel quite clear. And there is a sense of contentment. There is a sense of sweetness and acceptance. That is how I would describe my moment. Om.
So then this is what we can explain if anyone has any lack of clarity, to be able to express to another what is going on with you without the fear or the belief you have to hide. That you have to hide parts of yourself, all of yourself, or play a role above what is actually going on. And then you have to be still. From what my experience, spend more times maybe being still to be able to catch what is going on inside of us, inside of any of us. That's why being still for a while, breathing and just observing what is actually going on in the physical body and even beyond.
Since you brought my attention to a very subtle point, I would dare to share that I totally again agree with you what you just shared. But in my understanding of non-doing, non-doing takes us altogether in a different dimension. And that dimension is, there is no more this kind of responsibility involved, that how deep I go into my heart, how I express truthfully and humbly, and do I serve mankind according to my highest potential, am I manifesting God's dream or not. These questions or these doubts leave once and for all. Automatically there is this knowing, that is how it is. The ego part is totally wiped out. In that mystical sense wiped out. Otherwise, the ego part will be still be there as if somebody has, have you eaten? Yes, I have eaten. Are you speaking? I am speaking. I cannot speak. I am tired. I am not tired. Who is giving all these descriptions? It is always ego, whatever we call it. Whoever gives any information about Shantji body-mind complex, that is ego. And then I feel hurt if you say some nasty words. Who is feeling hurt? I feel flattered. I always look for butter pills because I like those. So it is the ego also is alive in that sense also. Ego is gone in the sense it does not take credit and blame for whatever it is able to reflect. Just like, some kind of a crystal. Through that crystal, when an object is passed through the light of that crystal, the experience of that crystal describes and reacts. So it is that I am proposing, that somehow be truthful, so truthful that you realize, my God, who is this entity there who was trying to be truthful, or who can be truthful or untruthful? Does an entity exist like that, or it is just a thought that I am entertaining? back and forth in my own confusion. So that is how I would add. Otherwise I would say it is beautiful to be disciplined, it is beautiful to be integrated through yoga, through chanting, through selfless kind work, through going to a church, going to a mosque, going to a church, going to a temple. To me personally, people don't like religions. Okay, I also say let go of religions because they are making us fight. Otherwise, what is religion? Religion is just a canopy for enjoying the celebration of being together in the name of our beloved. Celebration of being together in the name of the beloved. We need some canopy for that purpose that is called a church, a mosque, temple, whatever. But now since we are so much fighting, there is no need to cling on to this particular name. Oh, this is Hinduism, this is Islam, or this is Christianity, this is Judaism. Because if these names are making us so much, God knows, intolerant and cruel, then they were meant for us for a certain purpose. Now maybe they have served their purpose. Now we have to connect to each other on some such frequency that is very sweet and simple and very transparent. Like in that sense, I like your approach when you were asking me a question. Can I describe something that while you hear that description, you could feel some aspect of that experience in your own being? So in that sense, I would say, since you brought that point to my heart, if you are still open, I would say, try this. Do you create any thought? Take 1 minute, 2 minutes. Forget about videotaping, because since you mentioned, if I could make it clear to you, in the sense, I believe it is clear to me. That is how I can measure. I can measure your clarity only in the sense of my own clarity. But I believe once I am able to transmit or share that clarity, if you get that, then my God. So I would say there are only 2-3 things. It is not, that is what I say, it is not a question of time, how many years and ages you have got to meditate. It is your power of seeing, catching. A riddle kind of thing. So riddle is this, these thoughts. Good, bad, past, present, whatever, any kind, gender, nationality, any thought. Am I responsible for any one of those thoughts? First, a person should chew on this, at least for 10 minutes, if not 10 years. If you are sincere in the sense if you have practiced truthfulness, otherwise you will catch it and it will not stay in your heart. For anything to stay in the pocket of your heart, or in the chamber of your heart, or in the treasure house of your heart, you have to have practiced truthfulness. So anyway, so when you catch, my God, I did nothing and all these thoughts showed up and they also left me without seeking my permission whether they could leave or not. So that is already 1/4 of your projection, field of projection is wiped out. Then you ask, my God, when a thought arises, either I like it or I dislike it. Sometimes I am neutral, but generally it is like, dislike. Do I do anything that moment to like or dislike? Put energy again for 10 days, 10 minutes. What do I do to like or dislike? You end up recognizing, my God, it is already inbuilt in your system. Whether if somebody slapped you, you think of that person, you just resent it, and somebody gave you ice cream, you think of that person, you feel all love and adoration. It is inbuilt, simple. Whatever gave you joy, you adore. Whatever gave you pain, you resent. I resent everybody. So there is no big deal about you or me. We are run by the same principle. And then what you decide on the basis of your being sucked or not being sucked, drawn to a desire or thought or not to be drawn. You make a decision. And that is where the ego is involved. Ego in the real sense of ego, that is we have to be free of. It is not about I felt a little hurt because somebody criticized me, or I felt a little happy because somebody gave me butterfly. That is just a different kind of sensitivity. It is the doership, that I can do something to feel this way or that way, to act this way or that way. It is that kind of doership, non-doing challenges. So when you process that, my God, you end up discovering that the doer that you thought you were, you don't discover yourself as a doer, you find out yourself always as a non-doer, as a witness. That something is doing there, but it is you were just watching it, observing it, witnessing it. Once it becomes this deeply established in your consciousness, if you have been practicing truthfulness, then you ask, what is my problem? What is my agenda? What is my heaviness? If I desire nothing, if I decide nothing, if I do nothing, then what is this heaviness I carry? And when you get to see that, this heaviness, there is just a belief. What is this? What is this heaviness for? So then the element of divinity and freedom and grace automatically start manifesting in your life, and then to whatever extent it manifests, automatically your body-mind complex will react to that. That is why it is not a burden. How should I act or not should I act? I will be acting one way or the other, the way I am ready to act. So that gives that kind of tremendous freedom. I don't know if I made any clear sense, but thank you for asking such a profound question.
So what came up for me as you were speaking is that truthfulness, there's another level of truthfulness, which is to be able to notice some part of us, the observer, the knower, is noticing that the thoughts come and go automatically.
Beautiful.
The feelings come and go automatically.
Beautiful.
And once that happens, then there is something that shifts. Like as I was listening to you, my observer was engaged and was watching this ego entity functioning automatically. And when it happened, I noticed that all of a sudden I, as Vera ego entity, disappeared.
Wow.
As if I wasn't there anymore. Just thoughts, feelings, coming and going. No longer I, Vera, existed.
Beautiful.
And then what existed was this essence or space or observer knowing.
Beautiful.
That just existed and it had no name.
Beautiful.
It was no longer Vera or Shantji or anyone.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So that exists, and that feels like it has no problem, no restriction. I can't even label it in any way that it's free or not free. It's not even a concept in that space.
It is pure Tao.
It's just pure space, pure awareness, and it feels, something feels good. Maybe the ego, I don't know what is actually feeling good. Some part just emerges, says it feels good. So I don't know where that's coming from.
No, that will be always there. That is what I'm saying. People are somehow when we talk about egolessness, people are not what you call mature enough or thoughtful enough or advanced enough to catch that the ego, in what sense mystics are talking about, will be wiped out is not the same ego that most of the human beings are interpreting in the meaning of. Like this, a little bit hurt. Somebody curses me, I would feel a little hurt. Somebody praises me, I feel a little happy. This kind of ego is not involved in that kind of real non-doership. This kind of doer will be always there. It may be a little less in someone, it may be a little more in someone. What we are talking about being wiped out is the belief that there is no such a doer who can swing itself or himself or herself this way or that way. It is being shaken up, it is being formed and framed by a higher power. That's it. Once it is caught, whatever is happening through this complex or ego system, it is not caused by the ego itself, it is caused by a higher power and force. And that's it. I hope I am making some sense, otherwise ask again. I am very rather pleased that we are communicating, I think, for the first time in a very mystical subject.
So everything in the ego form, this feelings and thoughts all just appear. Everything comes and goes, even the words. But that presence is observing and is still and is not involved in any of those feelings, thoughts. Any of that is not there.
Now, can you say whether you will call that presence Christian, Jew, Islam or Hindu or anything?
No, it has no
Beautiful.
religion or no characteristic or no name. It is absolute essence of some kind that has no quality that I can express, except some part of me might say it's just like neutral or
Beautiful.
Or peaceful somehow, or content, if that could even be used.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So that catching, like you say, you catch as the observer appears without being without being hidden. Once that observer is there, can catch all of the other activities that keep coming and going, changing all the time, automatically happening, and there's no judgment of it from the essence.
Now, reaction of this exchange in my heart in the moment is like this. When you have time and opportunity, invite 10-20 persons here, arrange feast for them through Shanti Temple, and talk whatever you are talking. And because we are in agreement, the energy of agreement will start pulsating in their consciousness much more strongly than ever before. That is what the power of agreement, the power of connection is right now lacking for whatever region in the world. There are some great teachers, like I don't know how much Muji know this guy, what you call, who is very famous, Oprah, what you call that guy?
The woman, Oprah?
His familiar, his adorable teacher kind of, whom she praises very much. What is
Eckhart.
Eckhart, and that guy who is very much famous in France or somewhere, Buddhistic guy. Are they, or even Dalai Lama, are these people connecting with each other in a very sincere way, or they are just, God knows, that is what my deep curiosity is, and I think and I believe if I could connect with you, I am talking you individually, in a, like we are connected now, it is getting deeper. We too can create that kind of platform where somehow people could be brought together, or somehow something can be organized through or from. And I am convinced of your power and even your intention. I don't know. Of course, you may have many doubts and confusion and all that from my side, and I am not accusing you for that. But somehow, I want you to understand how in my belief system things start manifesting or springing and taking bigger and bigger shapes. Om.
Now, who is speaking while you're talking about Oprah, Eckhart, any of the other spiritual teachers? Who is speaking and doubting whether they are connecting? Are you speaking from your essence, or are you speaking from your personality ego? When you even question.
In that sense, I never speak from my essence. I always speak through this personality ego sense. I do not even know when a person like you ask me, do I speak from this place or from that? I have only one place to speak. This is this.
So then do you trust whatever you say when you doubt other people where they are and you do not even know them personally? Do you doubt where this is coming from, whether it's just the usual personality that's just spouting automatically all of the doubts and all of the pain and the feelings, or wondering about other people that you don't know? Is that coming just automatically out of you? And then can you go step back into your observer and see whether those words have any value?
In that sense, I do not have least that kind of orientation left in my being, that I have to step back and observe. That process, in whatever sense I have convinced myself, is completely gone.
So you have
no such division.
No such division. So then at this point it is always the observer.
Whatever you call it now.
Whatever you want to call it, it's just, there's no division. It's whatever is speaking is speaking.
Right. It's just one simple.
And then it has validity?
Validity or no validity, in my sense it is validity, but if you don't give validity, then that is your truth and you have to stay with your truth, and wherever you find validity you have to somehow connect there and create the fire that is required there or through that channel. That is how I look at it. But ask anything, you are bringing something, I don't know if I am still quite understanding or you are quite understanding me, but at least we are trying to understand each other.
Okay, we're trying to understand each other, and do you believe that two different forms that have emerged in this moment on the same spot can truly understand each other, or can only partially understand each other?
I would say only partially understand each other, but they will understand each other more and more, and it is also possible they can totally merge in one conviction also, but right now it is not there, and it is like gradually. But I think there is sincerity from your side as well, and the way I am sensing in your questioning. However, there is a lot more space where I find myself in my awareness and where I believe or imagine you are coming from. So there is a big difference that somehow, but anyway, you got it.
Do you find in your experience that you are in a particular space that only you occupy, and that nobody else can fully enter that space?
No, I would not say that. I would not say that. I would imagine, or I would think what you call Muji shares that space, and who else, maybe I think Hartoli also shares that space. I am not sure because I have not hung out with them, and I am eager to hang out, but I don't know how it is really possible when at this stage in my life, but I am very keen still. Oh,
So, can you mention anyone that you know personally and have interacted with, not those that you are imagining might be in your space? Who can you mention anywhere on the planet who you know personally that can share the same space with you and look through somehow similar eyes?
I
And
would
similar
say
space.
in that sense, Baba Nataraj, that you have not met in California, a beautiful